growth or even recession. Emily Sullivan, NPR News, Washington.
Looking a bit more closely at the numbers, the NASDAQ was up 51 points to 7,020. The S&P 500 closed up 4 points to 2637 today. You're listening to NPR.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip, unzip it, lock it, fill it, call it, find it, view it, code it, jam, unlock it, surf it, scroll it, pause it, click it, cross it, crack it, switch, update it, name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, start, format it, technologic.
Live from studios in South Hall on the beautiful campus of Jacksonville State University, it's the Hey Techies Show. Now, here are your hosts in chairs that should have been thrown out years ago, Michael, Bruce, and the Guru.
Welcome into the Hey Techies Show. So glad to have everybody here on this December 10th evening. And Bruce, how are you doing?
I was fine up until I tried to click something on my computer and I realized, hey, this thing's acting funny. Oh, it's purposely breaking stuff until I update and restart my computer.
Oh my goodness. It's purposely breaking stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully I will be able to do that during the first break. Because I did. I tried to click on something. It delayed and delayed. And finally it gave me my cursor and then it delayed again. So you made the joke that maybe it's wanting you to update. I checked and sure enough that's what it was.
There we go.
Yeah. I hate you,
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft strikes again.
With all of my heart.
Restart.
All of my
If the
being.
problem's acute, you must reboot.
That's right. So welcome into the Hey Techie Show. Guru, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. We're about 2 weeks out from Christmas.
Yeah. So excited. And we have what's going to come up on December 24th.
Yes.
The Hey
Techie Show.
That's right. It's going to have a musical extravaganza.
The Let It Snow Hey Techie Show.
Bruce's version of the Let It Snow Hey Techie Show. So
excuse me, baby, let it snow.
Oh, there you go. You got to make that term correct there.
Yes.
We're going to get thrown out of here.
Baby, let it snow.
So
Hey
anyway.
Techie Show.
Well, we have a few headlines starting off the show, and Guru is going to kick us off.
Yeah, so SpaceX launched mission CRS-16 on Wednesday from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. The Falcon 9 first stage booster was scheduled to land at Landing Zone 1, which is near the launch site there at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. However, those watching live and watching it later got to watch the first stage booster land in the ocean just off the coast of Cape Canaveral. This was not planned, by the way. Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, posted to Twitter shortly after the event that a hydraulic system failure had occurred. Musk also said that the booster landed intact in the ocean and will likely be reused for an internal SpaceX mission. And the primary mission of this CRS-16 was to actually deliver a Dragon capsule to the space station, and that was successful as the Dragon capsule berthed to the International Space Station on Saturday morning. We also got one here, the InSight lander. You probably heard about this a couple weeks ago. It landed a few weeks ago on Mars on the 20th of November, but recently it's provided its first ever sounds of the winds on the planet Mars. The spacecraft sensors captured a haunting low rumble caused by vibrations from the wind, estimated at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And we'll put a link to this in the show notes. This article has got actually a sound clip, and if you can hear it better if you put your headphones on. So that's what I've got, Michael.
Voyager 2 enters interstellar space. Launched in 1977, it is the second of two crafts to do so. It originally costing $895 million. That'd be dollars. And even now, at 11 billion miles away, NASA still communicates at a lag of a mere 16.5 hours. And I'm sure you're up to date. Microsoft Edge browser to get engine change. Yes, I'm not talking about NASCAR. I'm talking about a browser engine. It has been rumored for several days now that Microsoft's Edge web browser will run the Chrome engine in the near future. Rumors have been confirmed by several sources. The Edge browser was debuted in 2015 in an attempt to replace the aging Internet Explorer, but has never taken a major market share. And those are some tech headlines from today, December 10th.
I apologize for interjecting during the last one. I probably should have refrained.
We're trying something new.
Save our editorial content for later.
Nah, we're good. We're trying something new. By the way, if you want to reach the Hey Techie Show, you can do that 2 different ways, or really 3 different ways. You can not reach us at all. That's one way. Or you can call 256-782-5600 and be on the show, or questions at heytechieshow.com. And also every way to contact us is listed at heytechieshow.com, and you can watch the fine video via YouTube over here that is capturing our beautiful faces. So glad to have everybody in tonight. So what say you, Bruce, about a Microsoft Edge browser that will be having a back end of Blink, which is the back end of Chrome?
I'm excited to see what they're going to innovate. It's going to be better than what they have now, for sure.
Well,
anything's better than what they've got now.
Yeah.
Some people
Safari's better than what they have now.
Ouch. Some people are not happy about it.
That's smart.
One.
No, I think it's more than that. I actually know
it will actually work with stuff.
It's the 12 people who had Windows phones. They were happy with it.
Well, you laugh about that, but something I didn't bring up in the little segment that I wanted to do there. A couple of things. As I told Bruce before the show began, they're uncoupling it from Windows 10, according to reports.
Get it on other.
So what'll mean you can get it on other, and some are speculating that because of the way it will be built based on the Chromium, you could get it on Mac OS.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they put it out there, yeah.
Well, Microsoft went to the edge, looked over, saw us a long way down, and said no, thank you.
Somebody talked them off that cliff.
Well, also they're going to support what I've understood. They're going to support extensions, the Chrome extensions, the current Chrome extensions to an extent or another.
But I will say this: is this going to give Google too much control of the internet?
Well, that's a
good point.
That is a theory,
and I am becoming less and less of a Google fan as they become more and more powerful. And I don't know. I don't see, there needs to be balance, needs to be restored.
We've got to find the last Jedi.
Well, use Safari, and there you go, problem solved.
I would switch to Opera.
Oh gosh,
or Firefox.
I still like Firefox.
I will say Opera's done a lot of stuff way before anybody else.
No, that is true. But to me, Opera's always been buggy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But it's because they're trying to push the envelope.
Yeah, I get that.
Or you can be brave.
Yeah, well,
and
we know what that'll get you.
And kind of along the same lines with
the Brave browser.
Yeah, the Brave. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, but kind of along these same lines, I guess. Real quickly here, we won't dig too deep into this, but with all these announcements with the Edge going to the Chromium base and all that good stuff. So, headline here from VentureBeat: Microsoft open sources WPF, Windows Forms, and WinUI, and opens up the .NET Foundation. A lot of that stuff. Windows Forms is actually a product, but the other stuff, WPF and the WinUI and the .NET stuff, that's for developers. But they're getting more. It seems like Microsoft's really they're doing a whole change in philosophy,
right?
Where they used to kind of keep stuff close to the chest. They had their own way of doing stuff, and I mean, you could do other things on their platforms, but they had development platforms and different things, and it was kind of, this is our stuff, and you can. Some of us will let you use like .NET and different things when you're developing your stuff, but now they're kind of saying, "Oh, here it is. Just kind of come take it, or come. You're free to use it," kind of thing. And we're not gonna. It makes you wonder what their strategy is for doing that, because I mean they've put a lot of resources into this stuff, which is different than it's given up on Edge. This is stuff that they're still going to support, we guess, but they're open sourcing it basically to where
that's correct.
You know, they're making it available to anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, I go back to Bruce. What? Yeah, I know it's shocking.
And Java's done the same thing. It's open source, you know. But they're trying to shift the business model to like commercial customers, business customers having to pay for licensing where they used to not have to. So I wonder if Microsoft's going to they're thinking, well, for big business, we can figure out a model to have a revenue stream, maybe through services, through Azure, through that type of stuff. Maybe they're going all in with the cloud.
They've been going all in with the cloud.
Well, I mean,
for crying out loud.
but more so, like they're opening up these platforms, but they're hoping they can get you to use Azure.
Oh, sure.
To host this stuff.
Oh, no
I'm just sitting here just thinking.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't.
I know for the average consumer, like, well, who cares? They're open sourcing this stuff, but I mean, it could be a shift in what their strategy is long term. And I mean, people have been speculating what they're going to do with the OS next. Are they going to open source it? Or are they going to just shift to Linux? I mean, some people have speculated that. Now this is all coming out. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I can't look into the crystal ball. My crystal ball is kind of cloudy. So
but, okay, so aside from that, what does one make of the last 6 months of Windows? I mean, what does one make of that? Because I mean, it's been rocky. To say the very least, it's been rocky.
Well, it's been rocky more than 6 months.
No, I know, but the last two updates have been troublesome.
Yes,
I mean, really troublesome.
Well, and it's to the point, like, do I want to put these updates on my computer, especially if it's very important to, especially in a business environment,
right.
Do we really need to take these updates?
Now, I guess on the other side, and unfortunately Bruce had to step out, but I was going to mention about Google taking over the internet. Honestly, I don't know whether that's possible or not. It's so worldwide. I understand what he's saying about the market share. Could they have enough market share that now everything's based off Chromium in one instance or another? As far as how you access the internet,
yes,
that's what we're looking at.
The means in which you get to it. What Microsoft's doing is they're with Azure and stuff. This is the hosting. So I want to create a .com something,
right?
That's one option. Just like Microsoft. When Amazon AWS is another option. Right. I can go out and there's a dime a dozen resellers of hosting, but like those are the big players now. Amazon and Azure. And like now that IBM has acquired Red Hat,
correct,
which they're not really a service provider. It's a software company. Red Hat has developed all these all the software that's used like in these different cloud.
Well, they do offer some services.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do.
But they're not big into services. They're more into the software, Red Hat, Linux, and other things under that umbrella.
Right.
And IBM's come and scooped that company up for the sum of $34 billion.
Which we have talked about on the show before too.
Yeah, the Google thing, but the Google thing's intriguing because everything else we're talking about is not a browser. It's all on the back end.
Yeah.
Well, this is on the front end.
Yeah. How you access the internet has always been a big deal. I mean,
and thing is with Chrome, like it's a good browser. I mean, that's my go-to browser as a personal, like whether I'm for personal stuff. Like I've got a Chrome browser pull up on this PC right now. At home, I have a Mac. I use Chrome primarily. At work, I use Chrome primarily.
I have 3 different ones. I have 3 different browsers: Chrome, Safari.
That's what happens when you're chief techie.
Yeah, right.
Uses everything.
That's right.
But anyway. This interesting stuff.
When we come back, we will be moving on. But don't forget, you can call us and be a part of the show. 256-782-5600. Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
We're just getting started. Plenty more Hey Techies Show for your listening pleasure.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to nationalguard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
The 375,000 acres that make up the 3 ranger districts of Talladega National Forest were purchased by the federal government in 1936 as part of an effort to restore clear-cut timberlands and farmlands no longer capable of producing crops. The beautiful reserve includes the 102-mile Pinhoti National Trail System and Alabama's highest and second highest points, Mount Cheaha and Duggar Mountain.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission.
When a child plays with blocks, the skills of a future engineer.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show. I'm all rebooted and ready to go.
All right.
All right.
We can continue with the show now.
I started to get worried whenever it said Surface and it had a red line as it was updating. And then it changed, it kind of went through the whole red.
You had a firmware update.
Well, no, because then it went green and then it went blue. All of Windows little colors.
Oh, mine did that the other day. I had a firmware update on my Surface Book.
Maybe I had all of it.
I bet you that was it.
Yeah.
Mr.
Do you have the 1 or the 2?
Two.
You have the 2. I have the 1.
It's probably
No comments.
my Surface Book's better than your Surface Book.
Sure. I will say, how long's the Surface 1 book been out?
It's been out several years.
It's been holding up pretty well.
Let's see. Let's see if Wikipedia can tell us real quick.
Till Microsoft messes
Well, I've
it
said
up.
this on the show before. I like the Microsoft hardware.
Yeah.
Well, it's been acting like a 2, but it's a 1.
I actually used. I got
Like a
to
3.
use a Microsoft Surface Go this weekend.
And
I actually liked it. It was a little bit smaller, of course, than the Surface
Yeah.
Book, like screen size, but the keyboard topped really well. So that's a plus for me.
oh yeah, you're picky about keyboards.
Well, I am, but for
I don't like any of these new keyboards.
I think for basic web surfing, for basic stuff like basic surfing, basic apps, nothing extraordinary.
What's the price point on those?
$399.
It's not bad.
It was a $399 model. It wasn't the souped up one. It was the base model.
Yeah.
I was first, is this the base model? And it was 8 gigs.
Well,
of
I guess they
RAM,
have all solid state.
8 gigs of
memory.
RAM, 64 gig solid state drive. So it's not a whole lot of storage.
Okay.
8 gigs. That's plenty of RAM.
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
64 gigs of storage. So it's just an oversized phone without the cell phone capabilities.
But I think it's a really good device.
Okay.
I think it's 8 gigs. Of RAM.
So it's more app.
Well, and it comes default with the Windows 10 in S mode. It's 4. Excuse me. It's 4 gigs of RAM.
4 gigs of RAM, 64 gig hard drive.
Yes, or solid state. Yes, but it comes into Windows 10 S mode, so you can only run Windows Store apps. You can you can revert off of it. It's a one way revert off. Once you go off, you can't go back.
Right.
But if you're just using basic stuff and don't need anything outside of the Microsoft Store, which I think majority of users just use a web browser these days. If you want to use like the Microsoft Office stuff, of course, it's going to be on there. You can do the Office 365.
So it'd be good to have in the kitchen for your recipes.
Yes.
Maybe streaming some videos.
Yeah, I was very impressed with my short time using it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
so for the price
folks,
point,
that is high praise. You have no idea.
It is. But for $400, I mean, most time
Seriously?
when you think of a,
Guru's picky.
I am picky. I want good stuff. I
Can't
want
get
the work.
Chrome. Can't get Chrome browser, can you?
I don't know.
If it's in the Microsoft store, you can.
I
I
thought they weren't
thought it
letting them put
was.
it.
Thought it was in the Microsoft.
I mean,
store.
I don't know. I don't.
gonna look
I
and
don't
see if
use
it's
the
in
Microsoft
Microsoft.
store. I thought they were only allowing Edge as their browser.
Well, for long, it won't matter. You'll just use the Edge that's Chromium
Yeah,
based.
That's true. I think if it's in the Microsoft,
I thought
I'm not
the
seeing
best-
it.
Yeah, I was thinking they weren't allowing.
well,
other-
that's probably right.
That would make sense. I mean,
But I was thinking the Firefox,
but it
was
won't
in the
matter
Microsoft
once you
store.
start when the Edge goes
Antitrust suit
Chromium.
all
But
this again.
anyway, but for $399, it's a really good device because if you go to the store, your typical $399 laptop, usually it's a
Yeah,
like you go to
It's
the,
a- you're
the big
gonna have
box.
this a
If you go to the
year.
big box store and you buy a $399 laptop, it's usually a piece of junk.
yeah.
To be honest.
It's a 10-pound paperweight.
Yeah, this is a lot lighter.
They're usually
And
really
it's not a
thick
paperweight
and just-
either. Yeah, this is a really good device. So if you're thinking about, I want to get myself or a loved one, maybe
Did that include the keyboard?
no, it does not
Okay.
include the keyboard. The
So we're
keyboard,
looking at like $450.
yes, the top cover keyboard. Here's the thing, it's like $100 through
Still not
Microsoft,
that
but I
price.
found it for $80 on Amazon.
Amazon for the win.
And you don't have to use that to have a keyboard. It's a Windows device. You could do a Bluetooth keyboard, USB keyboard. I mean, if you're going to use it at a desk, I mean, you don't have to use the top cover, but for the best experience, of course, you'd want that. But still, for the price, I mean, I don't think you can beat it. So
Really with a stick.
that's
You
right.
think you
with the
beat it with a
stick.
stick?
You couldn't beat it with a stick
I'm
either.
gonna see what Unbox Therapy has to say about it.
2015 was the original Surface Book, Bruce. October
Wow.
2015. So that's 3 years.
Hey, that was the same year as the Edge browser.
Yeah.
What irony?
The longevity of
Terrible.
Surface Book's better than the longevity of the Edge browser. But anyway, yeah, Surface Go. It's a good little device. I give it my check mark of goodness.
The
Well,
guru's
up-
check mark of goodness.
That's right.
total goodness.
That's right. We're gonna trademark that term. I just trademarked it there. First use here on the show.
Well, so I have a question, Guru.
Sure.
Can SpaceX reuse this rocket again, even though it fell down into the ocean?
Elon Musk said they could.
Oh, so it just washed
It's
it.
waterproof.
It just washed it out real good. Huh?
Let's hose it down. It'll be all right.
Salt water.
So yeah,
I wonder how NASA feels.
there
about
was a
that.
video that somebody.
Jealous.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There was
Envious.
There was a video that somebody posted when they were bringing it back in because they sent a recovery ship out to get it, but like the part of the interstage where the second stage connects to the first stage, some of it had like it showed where it kind of when it hit the water it kind of
Right.
collapsed a little bit. So
Okay.
there is some damage. So but Elon Musk said it's got to be true, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's like he had a buyer for Tesla.
yeah,
to go
that's
private,
Right. That's right. Well, he may have, but it just never went through.
Yeah, but this was interesting. I was trying to watch this one live, but it happened I was at lunch and I'd forgotten about it because we just had a launch like a week ago. I forgot. Yeah, I know.
You had a fever.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
But I was trying to watch it and then I got back and I was like, oh goodness, I was reading on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere about that. So when I got home, I watched the whole, trying not to have spoiler alert, but I had a little, but I watched the whole webcast and kind of they cut away it like, okay, so everything was nominal. I mean, the like I said in the headlines, the actual Dragon spacecraft made it to the station successfully. So the mission was successful. That was the whole goal, is NASA
Correct.
paid for that flight to get those supplies up to the station. But it's in SpaceX's best interest to try to reuse these first stages because
Sure.
they can keep lowering cost. So while it was going up, first stage turned off. They separated stages. It started coming back. All that stuff. When it got to the point, they were actually showing a live camera on the stage, and it was looking like pointing down the stage. You could see land. You could see like the coast of Florida, and like they at one point it just started like spinning. I was like, this is not normal. And then they cut away from the shot. Like whoever's running the live webcast cut away from it. And people on Twitter kind of called Musk out on that. Why'd y'all cut away from that? We want to see this kind of stuff. Don't hide it from us. Well, he released footage, the whole footage, and then there was He released the footage from the camera on the stage. There's also footage from a tracking camera they released, and then other people released what they had when they just amateurs that were, at the beach taking video of it and different things. I mean, but it landed just off the coast. But the thing is, it was still communicating with launch control, the onboard computers.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and they were able to safely safe the stage. Get it to a point where they could send somebody out there, because if some of them tanks still compressed and different things, they have to do certain procedures to make it safe so nothing would happen if somebody was to approach it and something unexpected happens. They were able to do that, send those commands to it, and there was also some controversy of like, what if it went on the land? If you lost control of it, because let me back up before I say that. What happened was, if you've ever watched one of these webcasts from SpaceX, when they land the first day, they have this thing called grid fins, like a little grill that kind of pops out, more like it's like a grid, like think of a grill in your car, but like, two directions, like more of a cross. But they have the ability to like rotate these grid fins. There's 4 of them, and they can actually control. They have some control of, like, it's almost like a wing on an airplane to a certain extent. They have some control of, directional control of the stage with the grid fins.
Okay.
It's an old technology. It's been on missiles for years.
Sure.
What they do intentionally, and this is kind of came to light, is during all this, people were like, oh my gosh, like, let me back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the grid fins, they're controlled by hydraulics.
Okay.
And there was a hydraulic pump that fed pressure to that system. Well, that pump failed. So they lost control of the grid fins, and that's why it got out of control. But right there towards the end, like when the landing legs come out, between that, maybe because of the what's that, when the skaters put their arms out, they slow down.
Correct.
Not inertia.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm not a good physics person. I know my physics professor is probably hating me right now for saying that. But anyway, angular momentum. They say that may have helped slow it down, because it quit spinning before it touched down on the before it landed on the ocean, because it did actually land, like the boosters were firing, and it hit it touched down the water, and then of course it fell over.
Well, of course,
but it stopped spinning between the.
I mean, it's not
between the landing legs coming out and maybe some directional control with some of the thrusters and stuff. They were actually able to get it under control, which was very impressive.
Yeah.
But back to the other story, people are like, oh my gosh, it's going to crash and land. People are in danger. They intentionally aim for the ocean.
Sure.
When they're bringing it back in, and at a certain point,
those poor fish,
they're able to with the grid fins, guide it back into the landing zone.
Helpless whales.
And there's
Yes.
a couple of people that have put videos up about how this works. It's on YouTube, and you need to try to find one of those. But anyway, I never thought of that. But that's like, but they've thought of everything.
Sure.
So there was never a time, and SpaceX even said this at the press conference with NASA, there was no time where anybody was in danger. All that area in the ocean was excluded. Nobody could be in it. And if they said if it was a situation where it would have gotten out of a certain corridor, they would have. There's a system they can actually destroy the rocket midair.
Okay,
Like
so it's got the Captain Kirk self-destruct button.
Yes, it does.
Counts down. Okay, cool.
But yeah, but Elon
10.
has said that this may be reused for an internal mission. We'll see. But it was this
internal mission.
Internal SpaceX mission.
I got it. Yeah.
And it was a brand new booster too.
I've heard
the booster had never flown before.
I've heard a rumor that they are going to use this booster again to send up the first politicians to Mars. I mean, that's what I hear.
Oh, don't you hear?
Yeah.
The first ones, aren't they? They're probably 6 feet under. Right?
No.
If you send just
the first ones to go. Not the very first.
May have to use that along with some others like a Falcon Heavy to get enough.
That's a good point. I mean, we're talking about a lot of hot air,
escape velocity to get to an orbit to get you to Mars.
Yeah, if they send the politicians, it's a lot of hot air.
Well, it took the use of Falcon Heavy to get the Tesla Roadster to Mars.
That is true, and it's still going. So hey,
yeah,
I guess it's good.
Anyway, but that's kind of my take on the SpaceX stuff. But impressive. And the thing is, an old saying, it's never a fail. It's only a failure if you don't learn anything from it. That's one thing SpaceX has done. They've failed a lot, and not failed a lot. They've had a lot of things not happen the way they expected. but they're capturing data. They've got this booster they recovered, so they can learn something from what happened here.
Okay, so back to the question that sort of got shoved to the side, which I totally understand. Do you think there are a lot of egos, or there could be egos at NASA? They're a little bit hurt by some of this, but the success.
Probably.
Seriously. Now, me and Guru talked off the air a while back, about a week ago, maybe. We were kind of chatting back and forth, and we discussed that there are probably a good many former NASA employees that work for SpaceX.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And somebody at some level in NASA too is probably like, all right, because like SpaceX is leasing, they're leasing that pad at Kennedy Space Center, they're leasing other buildings.
No, I know, and they're
space.
getting some advantages from it, no doubt.
They're leasing the other launch pad at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, so the government's getting revenue from these pads that are just sitting empty.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's probably some egos somewhere in the organization is like, man, But I think Elon Musk and all his leadership and other folks leading the company, they've tapped into talent, and probably some of our former NASA folks. I would believe.
I will say this: I think they, if anything, they're excited about the independent ventures because this doesn't necessarily replace NASA. They still have research to do. I mean, it's just like any of the national labs that we have.
Yeah,
there's still research to be done.
And it's not like they're going to go explore Mars. Even though Musk is saying he's going to Mars, I mean, NASA's still tasked with going back to the moon and to Mars with the what is that spacecraft they're doing? It's the Ares? No,
you don't. Well, what I'm saying is, I can't believe you don't know these
that.
Private organizations that have happened.
Yeah,
are a result of the research that NASA's already done.
And with this whole thing sending like Dragon to station, and they're going to get ready to do Dragon Crew, which is SpaceX's commercial crew platform, their spacecraft. Basically NASA's just outsourced that to private industry.
No, I understand.
In order to focus on other things, because like the space shuttle was supposed to be this, after Apollo, space shuttle supposed to be this thing going to be reusability and all this cost savings. We'll be able to send so much more into space and do so much more stuff. And it ended up being just like from a financial perspective, just a huge failure. Now, I think the program was successful, but when the politicians and everybody got their hand in it, it became this beast of a thing. And unfortunately, there was loss of life because of some of the things NASA decided to do.
Oh, I understand that. I still,
there's a whole lot of debate.
I got to tell you though,
and I grew up with the space shuttle, and I love the space shuttle, but
I still think the space shuttle was cool. Just the whole idea of that going up, not some rocket-looking thing, but just that's like a real-looking shuttle. Like it looks like a spaceship. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what they're doing.
The whole reason the whole reason they had to build it like that on the side of the.
I know,
because of the military, because they wanted to be able to send up military payloads.
Yeah,
the whole cargo bay.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'll say NASA still has its place.
Yes, absolutely.
It just has to be led by people with a vision of where to take it. Because if they don't progress beyond space flight, that's already been, I won't say perfected, but it's well enough that private organizations can now do it, which, I mean, I'm sure they're doing plenty of research in other areas, but they have to focus. That has to be their focus.
Mm-hmm. They're recording wind on Mars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't know what's going to come out of that. That's part of research.
No, I'm still waiting for the Transformers to show up on the screen. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. And hear that sound.
No, I'm just saying.
Keep waiting.
I think the research they're doing is important.
I know you do, and whatever. I'm not going to Mars.
To each his own, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I think it's cool that we have a rover on Mars. Some of the pictures were cool.
Yeah,
but I tell you, the thing that it showed me is you can't live there
yet.
I watched a YouTube video about what it was a TED talk about what it would take to have actually inhabit Mars. I mean, it would take a lot. Don't get me wrong, but that's part of Elon Musk's vision about
Yes, I know.
But it's Orion is the one that NASA, the Orion spacecraft is the one NASA's in the process of building and developing to take us back to the moon and then eventually to Mars. That's kind of for human space flight.
Yeah.
That's where their goals are set.
Just wait, Matt Damon. He's going to show us. He's the greatest botanist Mars has ever
Yeah,
seen.
right. Yeah. Oh, good grief.
No, I'm serious. I think there's still a lot of great research that NASA's doing. There's a lot of great research for
I'm
them
not
to
being
do.
negative. I'm just wondering if somebody at one time in NASA said, "Hey, can't we reuse some of the maybe this rocket? We could build this reusable rocket." And because that's been one of the things that NASA sort of had a problem with SpaceX. That they're a little leery about reusing this products, and that's
understandably so.
Understandably so, yeah. But and whether it can be perfected, I don't know.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I mean, I
not
guess necessarily
to
perfected. It can definitely be done well enough to be commercialized, just like we've done with aircraft in general.
And here again, correct me if I'm wrong, Guru. We haven't sent up any humans with one of these.
With what, SpaceX?
With one of these rockets that are reused, right?
No,
to our knowledge, I don't think so. I didn't think so either.
And and people are screaming at the radio about the solid rocket boosters on the shuttle. Here's the thing: when those, I just watched a video on this a couple weeks ago, so I'm kind of fresh on my mind. When those, the solid rocket boosters, the shuttle, they landed back in the ocean. They landed with parachutes in the ocean, and they refurbished them. What they did is they sent them back to Utah where they were manufactured. They stripped them down, the aluminum of them,
right?
Stripped down to the bare metal, repainted them, and then repacked them. But only they're like the 4 segment pieces, like the top part and the bottom part were new.
Yeah.
So sort of.
I mean, nothing like landing it back on a platform.
Not reused.
Yeah.
But this is,
this is
with Musk, it's going to be a thing where he wants to get it toward, like with Falcon 9, we can land it and turn around in a day.
But in fairness to all of this,
just inspect it and
I
send
must
it back.
add to the end, we're also talking about difference in technology decades. There's a lot of new technology. So,
and one thing,
a lot of research that's been done to make that possible.
Totally agree. And I've said that myself.
That too, plus with like Saturn V and with shuttle, what NASA has done, and even before that, you had a lot of companies involved in the construction, different components from different manufacturers, where with SpaceX, it's all vertically integrated. I mean, they have built this whole system, including the spacecraft. That has not happened before with NASA. NASA kind of farmed that out to different companies, and part of that, they make the politicians happy because we'll put this thing in Huntsville, we'll put this thing in Utah, we'll put this thing here and put this thing there, and we'll build all these parts and we'll bring it to Florida and put it together. That's great and wonderful, but you have a little more control of the whole process when it's vertically integrated, where the same entity does the whole shooting match. And that's, I think, one of the advantages of SpaceX in terms of a cost-saving measure. They can get stuff into orbit a lot less expensive than competition, because before, in terms of the United States, this is where I wanted to kind of get to, is before, if you had a satellite, Michael, and you wanted to get into orbit, and there's companies outside the U.S. that have this ability, but let's say you wanted to use a U.S. company before SpaceX and before Blue Origin, these others, all you had was the United Launch Alliance. That was the only way a commercial entity could get something into orbit, unless you could buy a ride on the shuttle, which usually didn't happen. It could. But shuttle aside, United Launch Alliance, which is a partnership between Boeing and Lockheed. And they're sitting there like struggling now because that's direct competition. What they're doing is what SpaceX is doing, what Blue Origin is trying to do. That's Bezos' company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Rocket Lab's another one in Australia that's trying to get to this point too.
So maybe really to bring this back full circle, where you're asking about, what's NASA think about all this, because I guess their bread and butter or what people see as their bread and butter has been commercialized. So before NASA, there was the National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics.
Yeah.
And when it was, I guess, dissolved, its assets were transferred into NASA.
Right.
So maybe is it really, what are we asking? Is it time for NASA to evolve into something else? And what would that something else be?
That's a good question.
Starfleet.
I am. Yeah, right. That's funny. That's good. I'm
Space
not,
Force.
Yes, space. Oh,
Space Force.
Well, see, there you go. See, now that would be the militarization of
Yeah,
NASA.
that's not what we need. But
No.
what I'm saying is what that's kind of how
we
it
just need to do
it
like
evolved. We
like
started with aeronautics.
We just do like
and
what Star Trek did. They united Earth under one
Oh
government.
my goodness!
And you
Believe
create
we're talking
United
about something
Federation of
so
Planets.
Fake,
The
fake
Federation.
people. It's fake.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just curious,
I had to include that.
But I do want to pose that question to our listeners and to you too. Not the band, just the people
So
sitting
you,
here.
cool.
Us as well.
Us as well. Yes.
You as well. You as well. I wanted to say y'all.
Y'all's. What's y'all's opinion on that?
Use guys.
But I agree with you, Bruce.
Is it time for them to evolve?
Well,
and what do they evolve
I
into?
agree with you in the respect that a lot of what the public sees NASA doing is dealing with space station,
and they do a lot more.
Oh yeah, it's far reaching, and maybe it's time. Like you said, it's maybe time to take that next step. Because I think our eyes need to be set on trying to take humans to another planet, back to the moon, and then on to Mars. I think that's where we need to go.
Well, for crying out loud, they're talking to a craft every 16 and a half hours that's 11 billion miles away.
Oh, that's crazy.
I mean, they're busy.
That blows my mind.
But that Voyager thing is just blows my mind what they were able to pull off back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like in order to get the
it is
in the what they pulled together in a short period of time to get that, because they had like a narrow window to be able to pass certain planets.
Right.
I forget how often
It's
that occurs, but just what that thing is well exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
And anyway,
well, when we come back, we will move on to something else.
I could talk about the space stuff.
I know we could, and we've got some other shows that did do that. Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
Don't go anywhere. There's more in the queue lined up just for you.
An Alabama legacy moment.
Cheaha Mountain, often called Mount Cheaha, is the highest natural point in Alabama at 2,407 feet above sea level. It is located in north-central Alabama in Cheaha State Park, surrounded by the Talladega National Forest in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. This dramatic landscape gets its name from the Creek Indian name for the mountain, Chaha, meaning high place.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
When a child plays with blocks, the skills of a future engineer, rocket scientist, contractor, and architect are developing. When a child expresses himself with colors, paint, and clay, the skills of a future illustrator, author, and artist are being discovered. A child on the playground is developing the skills of a future athlete. When a child is involved in dramatic play, she's learning the skills of a future doctor, nurse, and veterinarian. In science center investigations, a young child practices the skills of a future horticulturist, inventor, and archaeologist. During circle time sharing, the skills of a future teacher, lawyer, and journalist are being explored. A child reading a story in the library is honing the skills of a future librarian, teacher, researcher, and writer. Future stars are born in the classroom's music center. In a first-class pre-K classroom, children do all these things, and in the meantime, they discover a lifetime love of learning. For more information, go to children.alabama.gov. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Early Childhood Education, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
In the late 1960s, NASCAR founder Bill France was hunting for a location for a new racetrack that would rival the size and speed of Daytona. Eventually, he settled on an abandoned airfield near Talladega, Alabama, and started construction on May 23, 1968. Hello, I'm Bobby Allison, NASCAR 1983 Cup champion and four-time winner here at Talladega Superspeedway as it was renamed in 1989. With 33-degree bank turns and 2.66 miles of asphalt, it's the fastest racetrack in the nation. Bill Elliott set the existing NASCAR speed record here in 1987. Every driver that's run at Talladega has had a wild ride or two. My final win here was over Dale Earnhardt by a fraction of a second. You never know who's going to make it the full 500 miles, and that's what makes Talladega one of the most exciting racetracks in the world.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
You're listening to the Hey Techies Show on WLJS Jacksonville.
Merry Christmas
Merry
to
Christmas
you.
to you. That's right.
However
Well,
you say it, what do you say? Maliki. I can't say that. Whatever they say in the
Malaka?
song. Yeah, that stuff.
Sure.
I'll learn to say it before I go to Hawaii.
Well, I realize this is nothing new, but it is becoming more increasingly harder and harder for me to recommend not really Android, but
just go ahead and recommend iOS be done with it.
No, the Google Play Store. I know I've mentioned it on the show.
At least you have other choices.
Those other choices probably aren't as good either.
What other choice?
I mean, you can just
the dark web.
Straight. Yeah, the dark web.
Yeah, the dark web.
No.
Yeah.
Or the bright web, or just the web.
I mean, I know there's other app stores as far as Google goes. I know where you're going.
Or just straight off somebody's website.
Yeah.
However they want to host
I think
it.
that's highly not recommended.
Well, I mean,
if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Well, it's beginning to be.
If you know what you're doing in regard to that, you won't be asking for my recommendation. You'd have already done it.
Sure.
Well, that's true too. But
I mean, I'm not being mean when I say that. It's just, there's a lot of risk involved with, a lot of risk with Android in general, but risk involved with not using the App Store. But go ahead.
So a headline from the 6th. 22 apps with 2 million plus Google Play downloads have had a malicious backdoor.
Wow. So 22 apps, you said?
With 2 million
all
plus.
by the same developer, mind you.
Yeah, I know.
And it was probably the exact same backdoor that he put in every app that he made.
Probably. Sparkle Flashlight, Snake Attack, Math Solver,
Snake Attack,
Shape Sorter, Take TAK A Trip,
Taka Trip,
Magnify, Magna FEYE, Join Up, Zombie Killer, Space Rocket, Neon Pong. Oh, I play that all the time. Just Flashlight. Oh, wait a minute. A Sparkle Flashlight and Just Flashlight. We have warned on this show, I don't know how many times about flashlight apps. Table Soccer, Cliff Diver, and just to name a few, Jelly Slice. Now, it's my understanding that Google has taken these off. That is my understanding. I don't know if this is lit, but I saw a headline where I believe they had responded and removed them. But basically,
does Google pull those off your device if they've found it being malicious?
No, see, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't know if I assume they could do that. I would assume they could.
I know Apple apparently reserves that right, but from my understanding, they have not done that yet.
Well, honestly, I don't know if they've done that or not either. But the problem is that this is a really big deal. Like all the other ones are a really big deal. And this isn't the first time this happened. This is like the 1,000th time this kind of stuff has happened. And I'm being facetious a little bit, but it's ridiculous. I just don't. At some point, Google Play and Google Play, they're going to have to crack down. I mean, really crack down. It's going to have to be harder to get an app in the store. I mean, I understand their desire for that not to be the case, but this is what you're going to get without being an authoritarian over the store. This is the kind of stuff, and then maybe that's what they want. I don't know. And I'm speaking to myself here, obviously. But maybe someone else would call in and you might have a different opinion of it. And I'm for freedom, don't misunderstand, but this is, to me, this is a huge problem. Most people don't fall for this, but I say a lot of people have probably downloaded like 22 million people.
That's not 22 million people either.
It's 22 million downloads. I know that
could have been the same person 22 million times.
That is a good point. Yeah, right.
It could be. It's unlikely.
It's very unlikely.
But
that is true. I said that wrong. So I should have said 22 million downloads. What? This article, by the way, is from Ars Technica.
I want I want to say some things, but I want to think about them before
Well,
I
that's
say
fine.
them.
We got plenty.
Because
we got our dose.
Well, I'm kind of thinking it is Google's marketplace. So think of them like the mall. I'm doing this.
I get where you're going.
You know, are they responsible for every item that's in every store in their marketplace? Are we putting too much responsibility on Google for that?
Do we put that same responsibility on Amazon?
Do we put that same responsibility on Microsoft?
Oh, yes.
These are soft goods. No, we don't.
I do. It's their store.
On anything. Okay, let me change. Besides the store, anything that can be installed on their device.
No, I'm not talking
because
about
I think Google's approach to the market is different than probably what most people
totally understand. That
is they're like, this is a free open market. In the past they have been, and now they're like,
yeah, but
okay, too many people are susceptible to taking the wrong thing, or purchasing the wrong thing. Like somebody's lacing this person's drugs.
Yeah,
we've gotta fix that. We got to take care of this drug dealer.
No. What I'm getting at is Google can fix this.
Sure, Google can,
but clearly they don't want to, or they don't think it's their place. They want an open market, and you just gonna get what you get. And when we find out these things, we're gonna act. When we find out they're breaking whatever we say they're breaking,
and they're taking limited proactive approaches to find these things. Let me think through this.
I think that they have a duty to their customers to not want this up there.
But that's not
from
their
the
customer,
start,
right?
Who's their customer? Who's the?
Well,
as Jesus
customer.
was asked, who's your neighbor? Who's your customer?
So I am not. When I purchase, say if I paid for this whatever zombie app or spectacular flashlight,
correct, or
whatever it was,
it's cold outside.
It's cold outside app from this guy that's put a back door.
Right,
I'm purchasing it from him.
Technically, yes, I guess.
So
we'll go with it. I see where you're.
I'm his customer.
I got that.
He's the merchant.
Yeah,
Google's not the merchant. How much of a percentage does Google take?
Honestly, I apologize. I don't know. I
don't think I know.
It's not 30%.
See, Amazon, Walmart, they all have these third-party resellers on their platform as well.
Yeah, but that's a little.
And if they sell something, if they're selling something that they shouldn't be, it's in their best interest as a company, Walmart and
in which
Amazon.
Google does pull it, but they just like Walmart or Amazon, they pull it after the fact, correct? Just like with the hoverboards.
I don't know. There could be some vetting though before it goes on their store. I don't know.
Probably vetting
but
as well as Google
I can't.
does.
But we can.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna bring Apple in this conversation. They fully vet their apps. Now it's not perfect.
It's not perfect,
but they are looked at by a human. They do check them
for 30%.
Well.
Well, that is true.
It is true for 30%.
But you can be assured that the app's not doing anything nefarious on your device.
You can feel more confident. You cannot be 100% assured.
I can be assured. I'll be assured. I'm not saying 100%. Nothing is guaranteed.
I assure you.
I feel confident.
Yeah. Sure, the confident factor is higher. I agree. Absolutely agree.
But
until the court tells them they have to allow it.
But if you put a paid app on Android on their Google Play Store, isn't Android taking a cut?
That's what we were just saying. We don't know how much Google. Let's Google that real quick. I'm going to Bing it.
It'll be the first time.
Yeah, it will be. Bing
for the first.
Seriously,
time.
I'm going to Bing this.
Well, that's my first curiosity. I think it's around 30%.
I don't think it's that high.
The only difference,
it seems like I used to know.
And one thing that's different between Apple's developer platform and Google's is Apple, you have to pay a $99 per year fee to be a developer to be able to put stuff on the App Store. Where with Google, In Android, you only have to pay a $25 upfront one-time fee, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Unless you're now
$25 one-time fee. Boy, that's an
Bing's-
old article.
Bing's results are terrible. I put how much does Google make per app, and there's the top result is Google pays per download of app to Android developers. That's the exact opposite of the question, the inverse of the question I've asked.
Well, hang on, I may be on something here. I Googled that. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm about to Google it.
Oh, wow. When was this? Because this right here says, let's see, transaction fees. This is support.google.com for apps and the app products offered through the Google Play. The transaction fee is equivalent to 30% of the price. You receive 70% of the payment. The remaining 30% goes to the distributor, partner, and operating fees. As of January 1st, 2018, the transaction fee for subscription per products decreased to 15%. For any subscribers you retain after 12 paid months. What? That's a subscription thing.
We'll figure it out.
This is a little convoluted here. But the Hey Techie Show will be right back for our
dose.
Headed your way.
You've listened this long, so stick around for our dose.
Queens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. President Trump says he'll be making a decision soon on a new chief of staff to replace John Kelly. But as NPR's Scott Horsley explains, candidates aren't exactly jumping at the opportunity.
The man many consider the front runner for the chief of staff's position, Nick Ayers, took himself out of the running over the weekend. And several others whose names have been floated for the post say they're not interested. Chris Whipple, who wrote a book about the chief of staff's position called The Gatekeepers, is not surprised. He notes the incoming chief will face not only the challenge of managing an unpredictable president, but also dealing with newly empowered Democrats in the House and the legal challenges of the special counsel's probe.
You have to wonder who would want to take this job as White House Chief of Staff to Donald Trump.
The new chief of staff will be the president's third in less than 2 years, typical of the unprecedented turnover in the Trump White House. Scott Horsley, NPR News, the White House.
Prosecutors say they've resolved the case involving a woman accused of being a secret agent for the Russian government. An indication some kind of plea deal has likely been reached. Maria Butina has been in custody since her arrest in July after the 30-year-old was accused by U.S. intelligence officials of trying to use her contacts with the National Rifle Association and others on Capitol Hill to gather information. Putin is charged with conspiracy and acting as an unregistered agent for Russia. She's scheduled to appear in court Wednesday afternoon for a change of plea hearing. Putin faced up to 10 years in prison under one of the statutes. The U.S. Department of Education is revealing a plan to help thousands of public school teachers. As NPR's Corey Turner reports, the teachers receive federal grants, but because of strict paperwork rules, have them converted into loans.
These Teach grants were meant to do a very good thing. They help promising young teachers pay for college. And in return, those teachers agree to teach a high-need subject for 4 years in a school that serves lots of low-income families. But the program has an inflexible annual paperwork requirement. Teachers have to prove they're doing what they said they would. But if they send that form in late or incomplete, their grants get turned to loans. After a year-long NPR investigation, the department says it will now help these teachers, either erasing their debts if they met all those teaching requirements, or helping them get back on track. The department is also dramatically expanding the paperwork deadline for all currently enrolled teachers. Corey Turner, NPR News.
Employers are posting more help wanted signs in October. The government says the number of job openings rose by 1.7% to a seasonally adjusted 7.1 million. That's not far from the record 7.3 million reached in August. The U.S. economy expanded over the summer and fall at the fastest pace, 6-month pace in 4 years. On Wall Street, stocks regained big losses to close modestly higher. The Dow up 34 points at 24,423. The Nasdaq was up 51 points today. This is NPR.
Technologic.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show Hour.
Dose
coming right at you. And Bruce is here, but he's still trying to. We're still trying to get a real number.
I mean, there's really nothing clear on that. I mean, it looks like both of them take 30%, but from what I can tell, Google passes that on to the carriers. Like, they don't get that money the same way Apple does. And it still doesn't make sense, though.
What if you have a device that don't have a carrier? I mean, where'd that money go? Anyway, just
for
the sake of this argument, we'll just say that the developer loses 30%.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, regardless of who gets the 30.
That's true. No, that's
so the developer keeps 70%, just like Apple. So the only real difference is $25 one time for Google Play, and Apple charges $100 per year, $99 per year.
Yeah.
Now, I think if you're in education and you're using it for educational purposes, no, it's not educational. Maybe it's nonprofit. There's a way now you can get that Apple fee
reduced.
I think it may be waived. I think you get to be a qualifying nonprofit, and you have free apps. So, like if you were a nonprofit having your nonprofit app and you didn't charge for it anyway, there's ways you could get the fee waived, the developer fee, but you're not charging anyway. So really the whole 70-30 argument doesn't really apply to you.
Let's see what Tech Republic says.
But Apple, they just do a better job of vetting their apps in terms of this nefarious stuff would be be extremely difficult. I won't say impossible, extremely difficult to get on their app store.
Yeah, it would appear. Welcome back into, like I said, our dose, and we're so glad to have you here. We have some tech headlines.
Yes, we do. So SpaceX launched mission CRS-16 on Wednesday from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. The Falcon 9 first stage booster was scheduled to land at landing zone 1 near the launch site. However, the first stage booster landed in the ocean just off the coast of Cape Canaveral. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, posted on Twitter shortly after the event that a hydraulic system failure had occurred. Musk also said the booster landed intact in the ocean and would likely be reused for an internal SpaceX mission. The primary mission was successful as the Dragon spacecraft was successfully berthed to the International Space Station on Saturday morning. And then we have the InSight lander, which landed on touchdown on Mars on November 28th, has recently provided the first ever sounds of winds on the planet Mars. So the spacecraft sensors captured a haunting low rumble caused by vibrations from the wind, estimated at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And we'll have a link in the show notes to an article from earthsky.org. Next, you can listen to that sound clip.
Voyager 2 enters interstellar space. It was launched in 1977. It is the second of two crafts to enter interstellar space, originally costing $895 million. And even now, at 11 billion miles away, NASA still communicates at a lag of nearly 16.5 hours. Microsoft's Edge browser to get engine change. It has been rumored for weeks, I think now, for several days at least now, but Microsoft's Edge web browser will run the Chromium engine in the near future. Rumors have been confirmed by several sources. The Edge browser was debuted in 2015 in an attempt to replace the aging Internet Explorer, but has never taken a major market share. And that is today's tech headlines.
Yeah, so that Voyager 2, you said that lag of 16 and a half hours. Maybe think of the Verizon guy. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'll come back in 16 hours to find out.
Yeah, 16.5 hours.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that's some of our headlines, and we talked to some of that in the first hour.
Yeah, and if you missed it, just go to heytechieshow.com. You can watch the video. You can actually kind of join us virtually in the studio or the podcast. So if you're
heytechieshow.com,
out and about in the car, exercising, sitting at home, nothing to do, podcast, Hey Techie Show podcast.
That's right.
You can go back and binge listen because we have just about every episode we've ever done, all 152-ish minus a few on there.
That's right. Okay, according to a yahoo.com article, here's a headline for you, Guru. More than half of global population now online, says the UN.
Okay, I figure it'd be more than half.
3.9 billion people are now using the internet.
A lot of folks.
That's what they say.
Does it give like a distribution of like a distribution of where those people consist? I mean, obviously it'd be Europe, Asia, the China area,
here
U.S., North America.
It says here that Africa has experienced the strongest growth.
Okay, well, that's
in
good.
More than a 10-fold hike in the number of internet users over the same period. From 2.1% to 24.4%.
Wow, that's a significant increase in percentage.
I should say so. Which brings me to another interesting thing that I learned a couple of weeks ago that I did not get to share on the Hey Techie Show. I was listening to a missionary that is a missionary in North Africa. As a matter of fact, now he couldn't tell us where because it was really a security risk.
Yeah.
But pardon me, he's a missionary to the Muslims there.
Okay.
In North Africa, and he was explaining how a lot of many of the Muslims use WhatsApp and other type products to talk back and forth there. And it's so different there because the way they have church is very, very odd. If they're having a Christian church, they do it in public and they chat back and forth using something like WhatsApp. They don't have, it's not an open verbal thing. It's almost like he explained
well, they gather in a space.
Yeah, a space, and they'll be using a phone. Like, for instance, they may be in an open area outside and some will be sitting there, some will be sitting there, and they're texting back and forth because it's very dangerous to do that otherwise. He said that one time they had 10 members in a house, and that was a big risk.
Yeah,
where they met one time. But it was very fascinating about the technology.
Well, I've heard of churches in certain parts of the world where Christianity is very frowned upon. Let's put it that way, and secret church and trying to meet. But that kind of takes that calculus out if you're in a public space and you're not really verbalizing. You're just sitting there using like an app to communicate back and forth. I mean, interesting. I never thought of that, but I mean, hey, it works.
Well, half the globe, half the population, according to this, is online in one shape or form or the other. And so that's interesting. I don't know whether that's good or bad or what, but it is what it is. And
it's where we're going for sure.
The world's richest countries have been showing slow and steady growth in internet use, which has risen from 51.3% of their populations in 2005 to 80.9% now. It does not break that down. Just says
kind of like first world. I guess you call it countries.
It says richest countries. I mean,
so it went from in 95 had 50%.
2005, it said
2005,
51.3
to now
and
80
now to
something.
80.9.
Yes, when you first hit the 50% mark, I was like, it's got to climbed a lot more than that since 2005. But yeah, 80%. I can
almost 30 points.
Yeah, I can believe the 80% for the part of the world that's I hate to say first world, but that's what people call it.
They said that it goes on
developed world. I'll say it that way.
Developing countries where 45.3% of people are currently online compared to just 7.7% 13 years ago.
That's a significant jump as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
And Bruce is going to have this information by the end of the hour dose. So I'm just keeping people up to date.
Yeah, he's still working on
in
it.
case you
So.
were wondering. He's going to break it all down.
Oh, yes. He'll have it all figured out.
So last thing on this, Guru.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mobile broadband subscriptions have skyrocketed from just 4 subscriptions per 100 inhabitants, okay, in 07.
So mobile broadband, correct?
Mobile broadband skyrocketed from just 4 subscriptions per 100 inhabitants in 07 to 69.3%. It just says 69.3.
Oh, 69 per 100?
0.3.
That'd be a percent then.
From just 4 subscriptions. So it's 69.3 per 100.
Okay.
From 4.
From 4 since that was
07
to 11 years.
Mobile broadband. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because you think about it in 07.
Yeah. Well, that would be the first iPhone.
The iPhone was just started.
Sure.
So yeah. And that's when smartphones took off. And then you've also got to factor in people that have broadband at home that can't get it through a cable provider or through a telephone provider. So they use either their device at home or like a mobile hotspot.
Okay. Get this. A full 96% of the population lives within reach of a mobile cellular network, and 90% of people can access the internet through a 3G or higher speed network.
Wow. So almost you could say 90% on 4G, but I guess maybe not a worldwide. I'm thinking about US.
Yeah.
Because there's rare
3G or higher.
I know where I travel here in North Alabama, there's rarely a time I can't get 4G LTE on Verizon. But yeah, but there's times you get 3G. But yeah. I mean, that's the reason there's 70% have mobile broadband, because there's the availability. I mean, you got to have the infrastructure in place. You know?
So
you got us an answer?
Yeah, it appears, I don't want to go through a whole history lesson of this, but it seems that Apple is the one that set the 30% precedent. That we're going to take our 30% cut.
Well, didn't they have the App Store first?
They did.
Okay.
But hold on. I'm going somewhere with this.
Just kidding.
So, of course, Google's followed that same 70-30. Steam apparently does things very similar. There's well over 40 Android app markets. And all those vary. So I guess part of it is, the Play Store is kind of a default that you can always go to.
Right.
But there are other app stores out there for where certain manufacturers have blocked the Play Store.
Okay.
From what you read from Google's policy, they really don't make it clear how much they actually get. So that is still
shocking.
Well, I mean,
29.9%.
Well, they pay it out to different people. They do. Google is better about paying out quicker and at lower thresholds than anybody else.
Okay, that's important.
But it sounds like they don't get, which, I mean, Apple's not really came out and said, well, this is where all ours really go to. But part of, because it talks about traditionally how really in the past developers wouldn't even see but 20% of what they, because you have to have somebody to go out and to design the boxes that go out, to distribute it, to
it's kind of that same
produce it and
idea
all that.
of like the record labels.
Yes, very similar. But one of the things that, and this is where Mikey's big hang up is, and I totally agree with him, is that, part of Google saying you can host it through this is because we ensure that these products are safe.
Just no way.
And that there's security here. There may be security on, the accounts themselves, for the developer, that we're going to securely get you your money. But as far as the app itself, it's
Right.
not going
Between peer to peer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely knew it wasn't going through the same scrutiny that Apple does. So, you know, as a say, even if they're only taking 10%, and part of that 10% is that they say you have a secure marketplace, then they have to have a secure marketplace. But I guess I've never, and that just may be the type of mentality I have. I've never looked at the Play Store as a secure marketplace.
Well, no, and I haven't either.
And I get, but I I totally get where you're coming from now. From just the common person that goes and buys a phone that says everything on here I should be able to download.
Well, that's a bad idea anyway.
Well, no,
to think of it like that.
Well, no, maybe it's not. Maybe because again, like the 30%, Apple has set that standard to say.
I see what you're saying.
To say, well, you know, on the Apple App Store, they make sure everything's secure. Surely Google, which is, you know, fairly similar size company, is doing the same thing.
It seems to happen a lot more to them in bigger numbers that we find that they're not.
But
this isn't the first time I've covered this.
And no, I agree. But also at the same, I mean, you could look at this just as the difference between Windows and Apple.
Sure.
You know, it's the same. It's market share.
Agreed. But technically, there are more phones running Android than there are iOS devices. It's just that they're not from one maker.
Sure.
There's more iPhones than any one maker of Android, but there's not more. There's more devices.
Are you sure of that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think
Yes, that is correct.
I think they sell more than any one manufacturer.
Yes.
Okay.
1-to-1.
Okay.
If you're doing 1-to-1.
But on the Android side of the house, there's more devices running Android because you've
Correct.
got a lot more manufacturers.
Correct.
So we're really not even comparing apples to apples.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, not even oranges.
Oranges. Yeah.
Well, when the Hey Techies show returns from break, we'll have a little bit more.
The waters are muddier.
That's right. The waters are muddier. That's a good point. Hey Techies show.
Welcome back into the Hey Techies show. As we
debate before we debate.
Yeah, we debated off air.
I was just over here singing to myself
But
while they were sitting there debating about the whole 70-30.
I think Guru made a good point earlier. At the end of the day, the developer, granted, they're better off than they were years ago. I think we can still progress and they still be better off than they are today. At the end of the day, they don't see 30%.
No matter what they do.
No matter what they do. What Apple does with the money and what Google does with the money does not matter to them. They only see 70%.
But I think we should interject something here that we haven't interjected, or I haven't heard us interject it. Most of the ones that I've read about or know about that are malicious they're not charging anything. They're free. So we're not even discussing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that I'm not saying that none of those that charge don't fall into that area, but why would they? I mean, if their intent is to get their product on your device, they'll make it up on the back end some nefarious. And really, to me, it's in whomever company has that app store's best interest to not have that on there, because they're circumventing the whole way to make the profit for them and the company.
And back to what I said originally, not trying to be an Apple versus Android, but Apple tends to have a better handle on that process.
I agree.
I'm not saying it's perfect.
And that's where I'm saying,
but it's a lot better.
And that's where I'm saying
a lot better.
That's where I'm saying I don't know. And the developer doesn't care what Apple does with their 30% and what Google does with their 30%. Google may only see 10% of that 30% and have all this other stuff that they're paying. And Apple says, well, we're going to keep that all in house and we're going to take the whole 30%, but we're going to invest it in house here, which may be 20% of that go to the scrutiny of the app.
Yeah, well,
I'm not saying those are real numbers,
and they have humans reviewing the app, so there is labor involved there. So they're having to pay those people to do that.
Yeah. So
I think you get a higher
invest 5% to do that.
Yeah, or something.
Or they're working on a way to automate it.
And what usually to make sure these apps are vetted, they follow the rules and they're not nefarious. That's at the end of the day, that's what you want.
Yeah, but see, when
I put an app on a device, no matter what platform, I don't want to be hacked. Period.
But this goes back to where I was saying, I think Google's mentality for what the Play Store is meant for versus what Apple's is meant for are two different views. I think Google is get it quick to market.
And granted, it does get quicker to market.
And Apple is we want to protect our image, because if this app is unreliable, then it makes us look bad.
Correct. And
where Google's like, whatever, we don't care about looking bad.
I would rather let's get it right, and that's Apple's philosophy in regard to that. So
they've not always done it, but sure.
No, but. I mean, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. But I mean, I agree. If from a security standpoint, yes, Apple has a more secure app store, absolutely, hands down.
Yes, that's something Bruce and I actually agree on.
Yeah. No, I mean, hands down. But what I'm saying is because I think the core philosophies for each one of those app stores are completely different, and that's why.
Totally agree. Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that makes one right or one wrong.
I know what you're saying.
In my mind, I would rather it be more secure. Absolutely.
And when iOS first came to market, the iPhone first came to market, there was not third-party apps.
Yeah.
And there was a short period of time where Steve Jobs was saying public, you don't need third-party apps. We can handle it. And then
they said, let these third parties create it. And then after it becomes successful, we'll just make it part of the
right, correct. And Google's done that,
but
too.
it wasn't maybe a year or so after the first iPhone came out that they did the App Store.
Yeah, but you remember when they first had the App Store, there was a ton of, it wasn't necessarily malicious apps, but it had malicious intent. Here's the red flashlight app that's $1,000, and people downloaded it because, oh my gosh, it's $1,000 app. And that's this has got to be the best flashlight app ever. And then,
yeah, July 2008. So
what do you mean, whatever? That actually happened.
Well, that's the App Store, July. It was 1 year after. Yeah, and that stuff did happen, like the 24 karat gold app that was a brand. I mean, it was people just trying to make it was a stunt by the developer.
Yeah, it was.
You don't hear about that now anymore. I mean, that was just kind of one of those passing fads. You know,
I think you still see attempts, but
it doesn't make the news.
Wise.
It doesn't make the news because it's not.
And people have become wise of it.
Yeah,
I'm not paying $1,000 for an app. That's stupid. I wonder if you can. Can you sort by price?
Sure, I'm sure you can, but not on Google. There was somebody that I know I should probably look at that sometime, but here again, I don't peruse the App Store.
I don't either.
It's just not a big thing with me. Yes, I'm a techie, I guess, to an extent, but I don't know if I'm that techie. Guru, I hate to do this over the air. Well, I just sort of given the sort of inside baseball here, and I don't mean to, but we need to look towards queuing up rumors when we get time. We need to go ahead and do that.
How about that? That quick enough for you?
That's good. I don't even know what we have on our rumors list here, but
I actually put something in here. I forgot. I was so focused on the headlines.
Yes.
That takes prep, believe it or not. That's maybe a little too much insider baseball there, but yeah.
We're good.
It probably didn't sound like it was very well prepped, but it was our first attempt, so hey. First rumor, Apple expected to release iPhone XS battery case soon, possibly iPhone XS Max and XR versions as well. So it's from Mac Rumors, my usual go-to place for rumors. Apple appears to be rating the release of a new smart battery case for the iPhone XS and possibly versions for the XS Max and XR. And they've got the picture of the old one and then the potential new one because some images got leaked out to the internet. So no details on pricing. According to the ones based on the ones that have been released in the past, around $99 for these battery cases from Apple. So if you got one of the new iPhone 10, you got the excess cash and bought the XS phone, you can drop another $100, get your XS battery case.
Oh, there you go. You got to have that.
That's right. You already dropped $1,000. Might as well drop another $100, right?
Yeah, and get that grand app while you're at it.
That's right. Let's go ahead and do the trifecta.
Yeah,
there,
get
right?
the trifecta.
So Apple also has reportedly acquired British startup Platoon, focused on discovering up-and-coming music artists. So Platoon is a London-based A&R startup. What's A&R? Artist and what the A&R stands for. Anyway, it's a startup focused on discovering rising music artists, according to Music Business Worldwide. Platoon was founded in 2016 by Saul Klein, a co-founder of defunct British video-on-demand service Love Film, and Denzel Figelson, who is a 40-year music industry veteran and has been advisor to Apple about matters related to iTunes and later Apple Music Service since 2003, according to his LinkedIn profile. So the startup reportedly worked with California singer Billie Eilish before. See, you can tell I keep track of these artists. But anyway, they kept track. They worked with this singer before she signed to Interscope in 2017. The 16-year-old recently debuted a new song, "Come Out and Play," as the backdrop to Apple's Share Your Gifts holiday ad. Yeah, see, A&R, for those unaware, is about talent sourcing and overseeing the artistic development of recording artists and songwriters, according to this article. So makes you wonder. I mean, Apple's got a huge war chest, as we've said before, but kind of I'm trying to figure why would they do this? It's a company that's trying to find talent and develop them to be that next big star.
Why would they not?
We can debut first on Apple. Maybe we can put you on Apple Music first.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do.
Okay. It was a head scratcher at first, but you said that, it kind of clicked. So
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to be the creator and the supplier of music or entertainment, for that matter.
Entertainment. I mean,
in general.
Trying to see, there was a price tag, how much they paid for this company. Did not see that in this article. They paid a lot of money. We'll just say that. But to Apple's pocket change, like, oh, it's like pulling a $20 bill out of your wallet. Here you go. Thanks.
I don't know whether this is a rumor, but I thought I'd stick it in here.
Well, we made it up. So,
Bruce, what do you think about this? The latest rally racer, Dirt 4, is going to be on Linux and Mac OS ports.
Oh, Linux.
Yes. And now one of the original Dirt, it's a popular game, by the way, was originally released on Linux. And now this version, the 4, is going to be released for Linux as well.
Are we still in rumors?
Sure. You got one?
Well, I was going to say, since it was Linux related, there's been 21 new Linux malware families discovered. All of them really.
Sure. Is that a rumor?
Well, ESET has released it, but they're all strains are Trojanized version of OpenSSH server.
Okay.
So
you're going to have to be running some things to.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody's going to have to get a foothold in there. Then they basically install a weaponized version of OpenSSH. So, some of which may be that you have an old version. You need to update. It's where you've not updated.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it says, I don't know how they're classifying these 21, families. But they're all very closely related is the way I would put it.
Well, that fit perfectly with my game. I was thinking
it fit even more perfect with them buying this Platoon company, Apple.
Oh yeah, it certainly fit with that.
I'm just kidding.
No, but seriously.
Well, I mean, as you see Linux become more and more popular, you're going to see more and more.
That's correct. You are going to see that. Okay, that is a great topic.
Okay.
And probably one I do not know enough about and should. Would Linux be more of an open door mess if it got more popular because of I mean, when you think of Linux, I mean, yeah, you think security. I mean, I do, but what antivirus? I mean,
well, let's not even start with antivirus. You're gonna start with the problem is gonna be misconfiguration.
Yeah.
People misconfiguring things, much like you would misconfigure your phone by downloading something, allowing it access to everything.
Right.
It's going to be people don't know enough to say, hey, I don't need to do that. I would say, base install on most, maybe not most. Most of what you would generally install of Linux, it's locked down. You have to enable things. It's not things are already enabled for you.
Correct. Right.
And I don't even want to say useless, because it's not useless.
No, but now that for many years now they've been trying to get this desktop experience for the average user. And a lot of things are more graphical in Linux than they've ever been.
Sure.
A lot of things you needed to turn on and off as far as what you're talking about was all terminal command line. A lot of that is more graphical. So it's going to be easier to access for the average tinkerer. Okay.
I would say that the tinkerer are just the person that just goes in and press buttons is going to make it insecure. But it's not going to be
right.
that.
Well, right.
It's not going to be because it was released.
Well, released that way. Yeah, very true.
Yes, enabled. It was not released to
correct.
Enabled insecure.
Yeah. So we'll see. But now I am
until somebody does, because it's so easy. Everything's open.
Yeah, I'm curious.
You have root access to everything.
Right. I'm curious to see if they could ever get a foothold in the gaming community. If they were able to get a stable enough platform that people really enjoy. Like, I know there's PC gamers and maybe some of them use Linux, but now
and
now you've got one of these.
I mean,
I don't
Steam,
know how.
there's
Correct,
Steam
Steam.
for
That's a
Linux.
good point. Yeah.
And I mean, you can use Wine.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm thinking maybe that, like, for instance, this Dirt 4, and I've never played this game. I know that's shocking. It's a rally racing
I'm in a
game.
state of shock right
I
now.
know you
Can't
are.
speak.
Right. It's a rally racing game, but if it's going to be ported for Linux and Mac OS, I think that I don't know if that's a big step. Maybe someone who's a big gamer would tell me, hey, I don't know what I'm talking about, which is certainly possible. I mean, it's going to be a minuscule compared to all the Windows PC gaming boxes and then the consoles, because they're in the multi-millions worldwide, I'm sure.
Yeah. And
so I don't know. I don't know if it's ever going to take a real
it's going to take every time there's a major release of a game or a release of a major game. I guess that's the way I need to put it. Being available on Linux, and more important, people saying, well, I don't have to have Windows anymore
to run
everything I want is there. So I'll just go there.
That's right.
But it kind of goes, it's going to be difficult because at the same time, you may have games that you say, well, I've purchased them. If Steam would do this, if they said, and they may do this already, I've purchased this game. I should be able to play it on whatever platform.
Yeah, I get where you're going.
Otherwise, it's just like this.
Yeah.
I have apps that I've purchased. I don't want to leave this platform but
I'm going to lose
somebody
all
else
of them.
because I'll lose all this.
Right.
I'll lose access and the ability.
I'm going to lose that $10 app I bought.
Yeah.
Or
Or as I was looking, I just went on Google Play Store and typed in most expensive app. And I'm assuming
well, you know what that does.
Google has a $3.99 limit.
Oh. Lots of $399 apps.
Yeah, I just put in most expensive app and $399.99 was the top price. Wait, there's one that's $400 even.
What would they do? What is it? What would it do?
Most of them just say it's just so you can show off you have
money.
You've
got to be joking.
No, I am not.
Oh my gosh. Some people have more money than sense. I'm sorry.
Well, so this is the thing. This is what some of these apps I've noticed reading some of them have done, because some of the commenters say, I downloaded this when it was free, because they may put it out for free.
Oh.
So they'll have downloads. Because like this one that's $399.99 called I Am Rich Plus has 50,000 plus downloads.
Oh, man.
See, that's useless. I mean, they're just an example of uselessness.
Yeah, and all it says is the most expensive app on Play Store. This will be proof that you're really rich and can buy just about anything you want. This is also the best version of the I Am Rich app on Play Store. And there's another one. That's the I Am Rich Plus. There's one called I'm Rich, most expensive app. And if you look in, because version 2.0 is out, this app will show you ads. At least it does something. Now it's complete. Now it's not completely useless anymore. Internet permissions needed now.
Yeah, yes, it's completely useless.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, on the let's do equal time here with Apple. I found a Business Insider article about most expensive apps for iPhone, iPad. That's a few years old, but we'll assume this is still current with these apps. There's one for $1,000. It's actually useful. It's called Alpha Trader. It's a global trading suite for investment pros. The app gives real-time stock prices, price alerts, portfolio risk indications, asset correlation, and asset category charts. So if somebody that's in the business of, they're a trader, I mean, it's $1,000, yes, but but how much money are they handling in their portfolios that they manage?
And they probably get the company to pay for it.
Probably so, but there's some others in here. There were some silly ones in here too, but some of these are actually interesting.
But it looks like $400.
Oh, VIP Black, $11.99. The Millionaires app. Users get VIP treatment from the company's luxury partners. Once you purchase the app, you have to verify that your assets are above 1 million to be accepted.
After you purchase,
you purchase a $1,200 app. and then you have to verify your assets, and then you get luxury treatment.
Of what?
Mr. Bruce, come this way.
What was that? What was that app called?
We're gonna give you your VIP
that first one,
treatment
the
right here.
$1,000 app. What was that called? The to do stock. What was that?
It was called. Let me scroll back up to it. It was called Alpha Trader with a hyphen.
It's called Stock This.
Alpha-Trader. Looks like it's
as in ALPH.
Yeah, ALPHA. Alpha
dash
Trader.
One word, right?
Yeah. It's still out there.
I'm looking. I'm trying to see if I can search the
Alpha.
Well, I'm looking. I
Trader
4 syllables.
App Store. Let's see. It's still in the iTunes App Store or the Apple.
Well, I
one.
didn't see it. I must have.
There's Alpha Trader Mobile. It's free.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Well, at one time.
At one time, yes. What was this other? What was that other one that was $1,100?
Speaking of that, because we got to cut to break because we've gone long. But right before we get a break, do you? Everybody knows that the Apple iPhone battery offer, $29 offer, ends on December 31st. By the way, if you were needing to get that battery replaced
this year,
you got to do it. You got to do it before the end of this month.
Yeah,
according to
one of my friends took they had an iPhone that was long. It was like a 6S, I think. It was getting a little long in the tooth, and they went over there and did it while they wait. I mean, very easy process. They didn't have any difficulties or anything like that.
Speaking of long in the tooth, we've gone long in the tooth, and we'll have to
the VIP Black app's now $9.99. It's on sale. Get it while it lasts.
Get it while it lasts. Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
HeyTechiesShow.com. Open 24/7, as long as we don't forget to pay the bill.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
Harper Lee is best known as the author of one of the most affecting and widely read books of American literature, To Kill a Mockingbird. The native Alabamian drew deeply from her coming-of-age years in her small hometown of Monroeville. The film version of To Kill a Mockingbird underscored the success of the novel with its own success.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Get a head start on your career while earning money to pay for college.
Well, welcome back in to the Hey Techies Show. Little For King and Country bringing us back in. And we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, and in case you were not listening at the beginning of the show, we're doing a special Christmas edition of Hey Techies on December 24th. You want to tell us about it, Bruce, a little bit?
It's the Baby Let It Snow Hey Techies show.
That's a working title.
Christmas show. Yeah, it's a working
We'll see if we have that
Hey
come.
Techies, Baby
24th.
Let It Snow Christmas show.
So same time, 7 to 9 p.m., but December 24th, so 2 weeks from tonight.
We'll have all your favorite Christmas music.
It'll be our favorites at least. And
Sure.
maybe it'll be your new favorites. You never know.
Maybe it will be.
So if you got time,
Will
join
Mr.
us.
Hanky make
But
a
I'll guarantee you
appearance?
it'll be a lot less. It'll be very little talking from us and
Very
about,
little,
about the Christmas music.
It will be a break.
Still have to produce the
Yeah,
show, but
still gotta
you
produce
know, but anyway, just a little idea we had on the show. I think last week I brought it up, and I was like, let's figure out how to do this. So we're gonna do it.
So Mikey, do you have a problem leaving your phone? Maybe just when you're out in public, leaving it on a table and walking away.
No, I don't, because
Yeah,
it's
don't
usually on a.
either.
Yeah.
But apparently, Google and Levi feel like this is a problem.
Oh,
and have created the Jacquard Smart Jacket.
Oh my goodness!
It has a feature called Always Together, and it will go off. The jacket will alert you, and so will the phone if you move too far away from your phone.
Beep 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 beep.
Well, now
when triggered, notifications happen on both ends. So your phone will get a notification, and the jacket signature sleeve tag will also blink and vibrate.
Now, iPhone has that on their watch. Seems like if you leave your there's a thing on your watch. If you leave your phone, if you get so far of a distance, it'll tell you.
Oh, really? I don't
Yes.
have it turned on if it's a thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I was thinking that some smart watches on Android would.
I mean,
do
I can
that.
sit there and I can push this little button on my phone. It'll ping my iPhone.
No. I think
hear it?
I think I understand. I thought I could have swore that was a feature. Yeah, I hear it. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
I know.
I could have.
That's why I did it again.
I could have swore that was a feature where if you walk away from your phone, it'll tell you that you're walking away from your phone. Your watch will. Maybe.
I'm sure there's an app for that.
So that was Jakarta? Is that what you said?
The
jacket?
Yeah, it was a Levi Jacquard.
Jacquard. Oh, I'm sorry. Levi Jakarta. A Levi jacket.
Yeah, it was on sale. It ended yesterday, last night actually.
Oh,
it's normally $350.
Grief.
It was on sale for $245.
It's back to $350.
It's back to $350. Not sure. Really
Sorry, we didn't help you on
where
that
you
one.
can always wear a jean jacket, maybe with your Canadian tuxedo. But I want to say right now they have they're only online. They only have small in stock, and I think they have like a sign up and get 20% off. So still.
Yeah. But back to your thing about the Apple Watch, about if you get too far away, that is not a native feature yet. As of
okay,
as the
that
date
was
we're
it.
airing, but there's this is a 2016 article. But there's an app called Lookout, and if it basically it'll send you a push notification to your phone if it loses the Bluetooth signal of your watch, and it'll also on your watch if you're on the same Wi-Fi network, it'll tell you on your watch as well. So it's not really.
I really thought, okay, all right,
Well,
that's
but,
fine.
But I just Googled that, and like that was the first result.
Okay, I as I said, I must have either misunderstood
And
or dreamed it.
Here's something from Reddit from 2018 from this year.
Maybe it's going to do that.
2018.
Yeah, I know it's from 8 months ago, so been like Marchish.
I mean, that's a year old
But
by now.
Yeah, somebody asked this question about, sometimes we leave our phone at the dresser desk counters as we walk away. I'd love to have a notification on my watch to let me know I walked away from my phone. Does this exist already? First comment, iOS 18 will have this feature.
18? Is that what it says?
and then somebody
That's funny.
Then somebody commented off of that, replied, said, and it'll be buggy as you know what until iOS 22.
Yeah. That's funny. iOS 18. Oh,
then
what are we on?
It'll be buggy until iOS 22.
What are we on? 12. Oh, 6 more
Anyway,
years.
so no, but yeah, but I can ping my iPhone all day. I can go ping.
Well, that's great.
I was gonna say,
okay.
even
He's having
your
way too much.
watch has probably got something to do with that.
I don't think so. If it does, I haven't noticed.
That's
it.
one. Speaking of watches, Bruce, I've noticed you've been watchless.
I have
for
been
the last few weeks.
I did not like my Samsung, and I could find my phone from it.
Okay,
ping it just like that, even if it's on silent, make it ring. I'm sure yours can do that.
So tell us,
never lose it.
You've had wearables for off and on for a while.
This would have been my third or fourth watch that I've gone through.
So how does it feel not having that capability on your wrist?
I remember when we went through this a little bit whenever I had my Samsung. I felt like the Moto 360 was Google doing wearables right. Everybody now has gotten to put their own spin on it.
Well, of course.
I personally, the Samsung, maybe if I had a Samsung phone, it would have felt, I don't know, it felt more cohesive. It would have just felt more natural because I would have been used to that interface. I did not like it at all. That I just let one of my best friends borrow it for months until I finally said, okay, just give it back. And I've just decided I don't want it anymore, to be honest. I would rather not have a watch than have.
You're just over it.
I'm over it. And it's really been one thing that's upset me that, whenever they were, Google was releasing the Pixel 3, I thought, crossing my fingers, they're going to come out with a Pixel watch. And they did not. And
that is correct.
It is definitely, I will say, probably Fossil's doing it best from the stuff that I've read.
That's what you have, Mikey, don't you?
Yeah, but
except for maybe that hardware that they just came out with. They're a little bit behind on that.
They got to get ahead.
But there's another hardware company that releases hardware that's usually a generation or two behind, and they seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, they want to make sure it's right.
They want to make sure it's right.
That's funny.
Touche. So it may work out for Fossil. But I just
so far so good.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
It's been really upsetting.
And one thing though, with the
I want to watch back though
with the whole Android Wear OS.
Yeah,
you have a lot of choices in terms of the style, the way it looks.
A ton of choices.
Do you guys know that this is 2 years old? I cannot believe I've kept this thing looking.
Yeah, I can't either.
Good.
Well, I've got a screen protector on mine.
Well, I mean, I don't, but I cannot believe it's still on my arm.
Yeah, can I?
The only thing that's worn out is the
take it off.
The only thing that's worn out is the band. I replaced it with a cheap Walmart band.
Well, hey,
it works.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
That band for that Apple Watch is you couldn't get a cheap Walmart band.
Well, it wasn't cheap for the Fossil either.
But that's one thing I've noticed. I was just curious, kind of looking on wearos.google.com. They've got like a find your watch. You can scroll through a bunch of them, and it's probably not an all exhausting list. But
is there a particular brand of screen protector you recommend?
I bought on Amazon. I don't know. I have to go look. No. But it came like six. It was like a 6-pack because these do like sometimes you'll scuff them up.
Yeah.
But I just replaced the screen protector. I mean, the screen's still in good shape on the watch face. So, and this is the sport one I have. So it doesn't have the sapphire glass. This is the first gen too. I've said on the show before, I'm just not going to. I don't feel justified buying a new watch. This is working just fine for what I do because it's basically an extension of my phone.
Right.
Notifications. I'll occasionally reply to text messages on it occasionally. I look at the fitness stuff. I look at the weather stuff a lot. Like I've got the watch face. It's got like the temperature, but I can select it and actually get like weather forecast information. My calendar's on here. It's got some utility, but I don't any of the apps that come on WatchOS or on WatchOS. I just don't use them that much. I've tried. It's just not there for me.
I understand. I mean, I guess I use the weather app on mine.
But I do like the
weather app.
I do like the style of the Apple Watch a lot. I'm a fan of the style, even though you only have really one choice. You have some colors like between the silver and space gray and rose gold and all that, but the overall design is uniform across all the different, just whatever material. But I like it. I'm happy with my Apple Watch.
Well,
Excuse me.
good.
But at least on the Android side, you do have choice, and most of them that I'm seeing here are most of the round, like traditional looking watch faces, and some are more sporty, some are more elegant with the metal bands and gold, and some for ladies, some for men. I mean, it's a good variety, and choice is good. Choice is good, but I like my Apple Watch. I'll stick with it.
So have you looked at one of these that's like the full case that go over your watch?
I had one of those, and I wasn't a fan of it. It was way too bulky.
Thick.
It was too bulky for my liking, because I bought one, and I was like, nah. I used it for a couple days, like nah. So I went with this a screen protector.
Yeah, that would seem like it would be. I mean, my watch is bulky, but it doesn't really bother me. So,
yeah,
but it is bigger than certain other watches for sure. So
yeah,
it definitely. Well, I won't say that, but for me, it's fine.
Oh yeah. So yeah, just get what you want, and if you want an Apple Watch, you can get it any way you want it, as long as it's that one style, just different colors, unlike
and
the
a
Model
different
2.
size. You can get 40 or 44 millimeter.
Yes, that's correct.
And you need to get an Apple Watch. I mean, an Apple iPhone with it. If you
Yeah,
don't have
you
one,
can't.
Yeah,
you
you
have to
can't
have
use
an.
anything
That's one
else.
thing. You have to have an iPhone, and well, Android Wear OS, does it work on Apple?
yes,
does.
does.
I thought it did.
It do.
I'm kind of surprised Apple's not yet ventured over to Android.
Are you dry? Are you okay? We don't have
They
enough
don't even
time for
wanna
that. They
tease you
don't
owning
want to
a
do
different
that.
phone.
Well,
No.
I'll leave it with that for the week.
That's never going to happen. By the way, if you don't catch us next week, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Techie Show.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. Accused Russian agent Maria Butina has reached a plea deal with federal prosecutors. NPR's Carrie Johnson reports a judge still needs to sign off on the agreement.
Maria